Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Protect your flooring, your vents from humidity. Help keep the creepy crawlies out of your home. You can do it all with crawl space encapsulation. Southeast Termite and Pest Control has been doing it, and they do it well. East Tennessee's biggest locally owned pest control company. Visit them online to learn more about all their services. This is the team I use. SoutheastTermite.com is where you can learn a whole lot more about these folks. The Haynes family do a spectacular job. Get in touch with them this week. All right, I'm going to ask you guys what's the biggest concern. Kind of a quickie segment here. You've got USC receiver transfer Bru McCoy has looked good in camp, but he still remains ineligible. Tennessee does not have depth at that spot, or does have depth at that spot. I'm sorry, they do have depth at receiver. Kamal Hadden missed almost all of fall camp. He was back in the field doing some individual work this week. We all know there are questions in the secondary, so we have to put that into the equation as well. And then finally, running back Jalen Wright has missed a lot of camp, and he's also at a position that needs a lot of depth right now at running back. So my question, and Jimmy, I'll start with you. What's the biggest concern among those three guys? What's the biggest concern regarding Tennessee's overall outlook for the season?
Yeah.
What's most important?
When I look at McCoy, if he's as good as Tillman, it's McCoy, but I don't know that. I think Wright is a good back, but I also think they have two freshmen that are pretty decent. They got Lynn J. Dixon in there too. I'm going to go with Hadden. I think they need as much help out of that secondary as they can get. He's a talented player. He could be a starter at cornerback if he's healthy. And because I think the secondary has a lot of concerns, I'm going to go with Hadden as the biggest concern.
I think Jimmy's right about that. I've got big concerns about the running backs.
Yeah.
But I think you've got replaceable running backs. No knock on Jabari Small. I think that he needs to step up, become better. But I think at the secondary right now, you don't know what you have. And if your pass rush is better, then you're going to have somebody that can cover somebody and it all work in tandem with each other. So I'm going to go with Hadden too.
Josh?
So it's a sweep. I would go with Hadden as well. The case for Wright, that would be my second option, would be that you've already lost Lynette Whitehead. You've brought in Lynn J. Dixon, but he's already had some issues during camp.
Right.
What if you deal with more injuries? Then you start to run into some real numbers problems at running back. So I think it's Hadden because the last time we saw the secondary with Adelante Taylor was a problem. You're trying to find that number one. Hadden is one of the first guys we'd mentioned in that conversation. He's not had a full camp to get ready, but running back depth could quickly become a problem with just one or two more injuries.
I don't even like, you get Hadden back. I don't even like the fact that he's missed this much practice time. At a time when you've got questions all over your secondary, it would have been good to have him out there as kind of your bell cow, if you will, at that position.
Yeah, he needed that scrimmage time.
Yeah. It's interesting. Nobody went Bru McCoy because I think in terms of hype, and maybe it's just because he's new and he's a transfer in, that's where all the hype is. Everyone's pointing at Bru McCoy. It's like, oh, we got to get him eligible. And they have talked well about him, that he would probably be the other guy starting outside alongside Tillman if we were back there. But I just think you've got depth there. So as good as he might be, and he's probably the one guy that you're more concerned about getting him back due to the ineligibility thing, I look at it and it's like, yeah, but the rest of the position around him kind of makes up for him if you don't get him back. These other spots are a bigger depth issue.
You've got depth there, plus you've got an offense that helps your wide receivers. Whereas I don't know if your defense, what can you do to hide if your corners aren't good? What do you do?
Yeah, there are more bodies at wide receiver that I feel comfortable about that can produce.
Yeah.
In the secondary, I don't feel that way. And as a lot of defensive coordinators will tell you, what you can do at cornerback determines what your defense can do. And if you don't have good corners, it makes it harder to blitz. It makes it harder to run different schemes. Yeah. And that's where I think Hadden is such a big part of this and why I'm concerned about the defense. They've got to find some cornerbacks that are at least decent so that they can improve on defense.
All right. Josh, anything to finish up with?
Yeah, I would say that I didn't consider McCoy strongly because I'm betting on it getting worked out. If I'm wrong and he doesn't play at all, then I think it becomes a bigger problem because the staff told us, hey, we're going after Bru McCoy. They tried to get Isaiah Nair as a transfer. They coveted somebody else coming in to help, so more pressures on Walker Merrill or Holiday or Callaway. I like Hyatt's potential. You do have tight ends that will be a part of the passing game, but if you don't have Bru McCoy, that's a question that the staff has that would still need to be answered.
It is interesting, though, that Tennessee feels they've done everything. They feel like all their ducks are in order and all their ducks are in a row. All the I's have been dotted and the T's have been crossed. The administration's done all they could do, but still not cleared just yet. All right.
Doesn't it seem like every year?
That there's somebody.
Every year, Tennessee has one of these guys hanging.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish they had a guy named Chad.
Hanging Chad? All right, now you're dating yourself. All right, very good. When we come back, we'll show you where Hendon Hooker ranked on ESPN's Top 100 list, and then we'll also talk about recruiting. We'll talk about Smokey Grace coming back. We got a lot more to cover in this show. Coming back on the Sports Source.